I had never been before, and I just kind of impulsively said, yeah, I'll definitely come. And I fell in love with the country, the people, the culture, the food, everything that's Turkey.
Hello guys, welcome to my channel again, and for the first time in my life I'm having some videos on YouTube totally in English, just because I interviewed my new roommates Courtney and Bailey. They are teachers from United States, and I asked them how they learn languages. English is their mother tongue, but they learn some other languages. Last week you watched the interview with Bailey, and this week you're gonna watch the interview with Courtney. Bailey explained us how he learned German and how he learned Turkish, and he shared all his experiences and difficulties and how he managed to learn that language. This time Courtney will share that kind of experiences and difficulties, and I'm hoping that these two interviews will help you about your language studies. Before we watch the interview, I want you to like this video, leave a comment or share this video with your friends or family, because it's really important for me to keep going on this channel, and this kind of actions from you guys help me to produce more videos on YouTube. Alright, one last thing before we start. If you need to change the subtitles, click on settings button on this video and you can choose Turkish or English or any other language. So I don't want you to wait any longer, and let's dive into the video and let's have this interview with Courtney. Enjoy the video and I will catch you later. Hey guys, this is my new roommate at school, Courtney from United States, and she also has a lot of experiences about not just about teaching English, but she's also doing some other things with languages. So I don't want to give you spoilers, so I will ask her. So how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great, and thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
All right then. Courtney, and right now you're living in Turkey. You must be learning some Turkish, right?
Absolutely.
It's not your first day here.
No, it's
absolutely not. And also I know you are also concentrating on some other languages too. But before coming to Turkey, you didn't get your education just for teaching English, right? Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Absolutely. So when I'm in the States, I actually am a Spanish teacher, and I teach Spanish at the K-12 level. And the reason how that came about is I'm from California, San Diego County specifically, and the proximity to the Mexican border is quite close. And so when I was in elementary school, there was a large number of Hispanophone speakers, and I learned Spanish because my elementary schooling was taught dual immersion, so half Spanish and half English, just because of the fact that there was a need. It was a necessity for the large number of Hispanophones, and I just found that I really enjoyed the language, so I started to learn.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience, like as first time you start learning Spanish?
Absolutely. So I was hearing it. I would hear my classmates on the playground, and like I said, I heard my teacher speaking the language, but I would just tune it out. And then I started to realize over time that I understood, and it excited me, and I felt like I was on the outside because I couldn't speak it. I just heard it, and I could pick up a few words here and there, but then it became kind of like a quest. And so I didn't actually sit in an actual language class for Spanish until I was in 9th grade. But I was so excited at that point because like I said, there's a large number of Hispanophones in San Diego County and in California in particular. And so I was so excited, and I had a great teacher. The teacher definitely made a difference because I'm still in contact with him to this day. His name is Senor Harper. He's from Cuba, and he was just so immersed in teaching us. He made the language come alive for me, and it was not, he didn't separate language and culture, it was together. And so it made me have a love of not just the Spanish language, but all these different countries that have Hispanic and Latin influences. So it was nice because he brought it to life for me. He introduced me to different concepts and words and structures and grammar that I just didn't know. But I think that if he didn't have that, I wouldn't be as enthusiastic and excited about it. Like I said, he was really kind of the person that really made it come alive for me. I had that interest, but having someone that can be supportive and kind of validate why you want to learn is extremely beneficial.
All right then. So you're telling us that you're also interested in the culture apart from the language itself, right? So can you tell us what kind of things have you done for it? Like have you listened some Spanish music or read some books from I don't know, Mexico?
Yeah.
Or what kind of approaches did you follow as a learner?
As a learner, I definitely kind of tried to invest myself. I joined clubs that were language-based. It was called La Raza at the time, I remember. And I remember feeling so out of place and just so weird because everybody was speaking Spanish and I didn't understand, but I was in the right place. You want a certain level of discomfort because you don't like that feeling and you want to get over that. So you put yourself in that position so that way you can stop feeling like that and you can increase that confidence. I did extensive travel to Spanish-speaking countries. I listened to different podcasts. I did all kinds of different things. I read books, and I tried to speak. And one of the things that I came across, so there's a guy, he's a polyglot, which means somebody that speaks 3 or more languages at a high proficiency level. His name is Tim Donner, and I was watching his YouTube channel, and he speaks, at the time I think he was 16 when he recorded the video, and he was speaking 20 different languages with a high level of proficiency, and I was just blown away, and I was like, what is he doing in order to, grasp these languages so well? And he said one of the things that he does is he will log on to YouTube and he'll say, Tim speaks Urdu, or Tim speaks Farsi, or Tim speaks Spanish. And he'll just give a monologue of 1 to 2 minutes, completely unscripted, and he'll just work on speaking the language. And then he'll ask for everybody, that's either a native speaker or somebody that has a high level proficiency in that level, to correct his grammar, to correct the way his pronunciation. And I love that. I just thought that was so brilliant because he's using the world to, in his own space to get better at the language. And he's making himself vulnerable. And like I said, when we make ourselves vulnerable and when we feel a little bit of discomfort, it helps us to grow our confidence. So I started doing that as well.
Definitely, yeah. If you're in your comfort zone, it's very hard to learn a language. It's a tough job.
Exactly.
All right.
But I also wanted to say that I tend to focus on vocabulary first, rather than grammar. Not to discount grammar and say that it's not important, but if you give me some words, or if I give you some words in any order, you're probably going to understand what I'm intending to say. However, if I just have grammar, structures, and rules, and I have no words to put in those places, what's the point? So I found that when I'm learning the grammar, I just kind of store words slowly in my mental Rolodex, and then I use them, and it might just be a simple greeting, a salutation. It might be ordering something at a coffee shop, at a cafe. It might be asking for directions, and when I get feedback from the others that understand that language and that know that language, they're surprised and they smile, and that you just kind of, they open up to you and they want to help you and they want to correct you. And so I feel a sort of pride in that. And so naturally, after the vocabulary, because I'm feeling pride and because I'm starting to feel confident, then I seek the deeper language, the deeper knowledge. And so that leads directly into the grammar and so the other facets of it. So I start with the grammar and just trying to be communicative, utterances and things like that, and then it just kind of expands from there.
Yeah, definitely. You need some feedback, some sort of feedback, so that you should understand that you're on the right track.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, I remember that helped me a lot when it wasn't until college that I could speak foreigners, but then when I get some feedback from them, it's it builds confidence in you. Then it was a great experience for me too. So, Courtney, when you were learning Spanish, I did it too, but have you ever had a time that you get so, you felt so weak in that language?
Absolutely. I can think of a time in particular where I made a mistake and I was like, oh my gosh, I never want to do that again, but it definitely helped me. So I can't remember where I was, but I was trying to say in Spanish, I'm embarrassed. And I said, estoy embarazada, which means I'm pregnant. And so everybody, they were kind of like laughing, but then they corrected me, because it was funny,
It is.
And they said, oh no, you want to say this word, avergonzada. And so I was able to quickly learn how to not say I'm pregnant, and how to, and change, in exchange, say I'm embarrassed instead. But again, I had to chuckle, I had to laugh at myself, and that's another thing, we make the mistakes, but you have to laugh when you make a really, really big mistake like that, because, they took it in stride, I took it in stride, and like I said, I've learned what to say and what not to say. So that was probably my biggest point where I learned that mistakes are okay, and
they're helpful.
that they're going to happen, and they are helpful. Exactly.
Definitely. That kind of things happened to me when I was learning too. Like, making mistake is another way, another approach to learn a language. You should make a lot of mistakes at school, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Not just at school, but in all different types of spaces. I think that people are more forgiving than what we think. I think that we think that it's the end of the world when we say something wrong, or when just our grammar isn't quite there. But like I said, people on the other end of our conversation are quite forgiving. So we just need to kind of keep that in mind when we're working on our language.
It's how we learn, right?
Absolutely.
So then, after that, learning like Spanish at school, how did you decide to teach Spanish?
I just felt like it was a natural progression, because I felt like I needed to continue to grow and to expand. I think regardless of the language, even with our native language, I'm still reading my grammar books, and I'm still trying to understand how language is put together. But that may just be because I'm a language lover. I'm a lover of language, all languages. So I felt like this is something that I can really own, and I wanted the way that my teacher brought Spanish to life for me, I felt like I could do that effectively. And he was just so dynamic, and I wanted to be kind of like that medium of students, just knowing about a language, kind of out there, it's there, and then really connecting with it. I wanted to kind of be that bridge or that source. So I really worked hard. It wasn't easy. I'll be honest about that. It definitely wasn't easy, but it was worth it, because I have a career that I'm happy with, and I've been able to connect with so many different students that really enjoy the language, and it's reciprocal. I'm giving a skill, or I'm teaching a skill, but the enthusiasm, and when students actually get it, it's a really good feeling. It's very rewarding as a teacher.
Yeah. All right then. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience, apart from learning and teaching Spanish? You also teach English, right? And you did it like in Turkey before, in İzmir. Can you tell us a little bit about it? How did you find the job, and how did you decide to move from States to here?
Well, I decided to move to Turkey because I came at the invitation of a friend. I had never been before, and I just kind of impulsively said, yeah, I'll definitely come. And I fell in love with the country, the people, the culture, the food, everything that's Turkey. Even the language is beautiful to me. I love, even though the words are very long, I just fell in love with everything. So I said I can see myself living here. And switching from Spanish to English was not easy, because that everything is different. They're different. Language families is just different. And so I really had to reconcile in my head that I sat in a Spanish class, and I learned everything. So I knew the rules, and I knew where to go to find, what I needed in order to teach. But with English, it was quite different because this is my native tongue. So if you ask me what a causative is, or if you ask me a certain grammar rule, I might have to go back to a book and look and think. And so I had to really invest myself in, working with study groups for my own language, and I had to go back and really reread and take courses to enhance my level of proficiency with my own language, and not just knowing the fundamentals of grammar and vocabulary, but also how to teach it, because it was just completely different. But I'm really happy. It feels natural to me now, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy also too because so many people are interested in learning. It's a need, but it's also a desire there, and so I like being able to assist with the language learning goal, with the endeavor of learning such a global language.
All right, let's move on to the next question. So you start teaching here in Izmir, right? So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So I started working for a school known as Özel Teknoloji, our ITK, and that's a K through 12 school. So originally I was supposed to just teach high school, but I ended up teaching primary, middle, and high school, which was a really great experience because I had experience teaching all those levels before, but within my own country. So I quickly got acclimated to teaching my language, not Spanish, but English, in a foreign country to me. And it was a really great experience because I got to know, even more of the surface level of Turkish culture through my experience in teaching. And I really got to connect with my students from all ages. And it was beneficial to me because I saw growth all along the way.
All right, then now you're going to teach with us at Yaşar University, right?
Yes.
I'm glad that you're here. So also you, apart from Spanish and your mother tongue, of course, English, you speak some other languages too, right?
I dabble, and I wouldn't say I speak. I'm not proficient by any means.
But you're learning them.
But I'm learning, exactly. And one, of course, is Turkish because I'm here, and I love it. I love it, but it's also very, very difficult. So I can definitely empathize with my students because I understand when it's just, you want to get the pronunciation or you want to understand the grammar, but it's just so difficult. So I understand. But Turkish, and then also Farsi. And the reason why I'm learning Farsi is because I have someone that's really, really close to me, and we're always together. And I just thought I would really like to get to know his culture deeper and his language. And I just, just to kind of have like a deeper connection. And I think whenever you have a friend or anybody that's in your close circle that speaks a language, it's always beneficial because it's definitely a motivating factor for sure. So I've been using a platform online, and it's called Preply. I'm also a teacher on Preply for English. And so I originally didn't want to learn a language, so to speak. I wanted to see how other instructors were teaching, so that way I can become a better instructor. But then I thought, no, I need to, this can be twofold. I can learn a language and I can learn how others teach their classes and kind of enhance my own teaching practices. So I started with 2 different tutors, and they're amazing. They're really, it's online, so it's different than face-to-face or sharing somebody's energy, but they do a really great job at being very methodical and slow, which is something that I need. It takes me a while to understand, and I have a lot of, I can't just accept something. It's like, well, why is that like that? And, is this, if something's irregular, then I need all the history behind it. So, like I said, I think that when you can really advocate for yourself and say, no, this is what I need, the teachers will kind of follow suit and really give you what you ask for. But you can't be afraid as a student to say, I need help. I don't understand this concept. Can you clarify? I learned that the hard way because when I was in high school, I was always afraid to make a mistake. When you're younger, you don't care. You're just speaking and babbling, and you get out what you want to say. But as you get older, you are inhibited because you don't want to make a mistake, whether it's pronunciation or spelling or grammar or whatever. And so I learned to kind of just stay in the background, and that was really to my detriment. So now I'm learning as an adult, which I wish I would have implemented this a long time ago, to definitely, again, advocate for yourself. Ask the questions, because chances are, especially if you're in your class or in a group, if you have that question, somebody else has that question. So always seek clarification, and then also do research on your own. If you, like my teacher online teaches me something and I kind of have an understanding, but I can get clarification, I shouldn't wait for him. I should go ahead and you know, we have access to all kinds of technology. We have access to the world. So do your part and really take accountability for your own learning.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. I was also going to ask you that. What do you do to learn these languages, especially for Farsi? For example, Turkish, at least the letters are the same, almost the same.
Exactly.
But it's a different alphabet as well. So what other approaches do you do? I asked you about Spanish, but you were like lucky to live close to Mexico. But what about Turkish and Farsi?
Yeah, so Turkish, I'm lucky to live here because I have no choice but to use it when I go out. Which, you know, immersion is definitely a great tool. It's kind of a neat. You're left to your own devices and you make do. But with Farsi, you know, he's my only influence in his family. So I use my tutor. I rely on him quite a bit, but I've also ordered some books and I looked at their ratings. I actually was able to thumb through the book on Amazon just to kind of see like what does it offer. And so there's a digital component where I can actually work through exercises. I can listen, which is a really big thing, because when you think about it, when we learn our native tongue, we're listening and listening, and there's so much input there. And so I feel like the best way, especially when it comes to a language that has a foreign alphabet, is to listen as much as possible. You're really soaking it in and trying to hear kind of those nuances in the language that you might not hear in your native tongue. So I listen to this audio CD that comes with it. It's not even a CD anymore, but it's all online. And then also Farsi, like videos that are in Farsi, news that's in Farsi, because I want to, like a neutral register and tone, these sorts of things. So listening to as many things as possible. Podcasts are really important. And then there's on YouTube, or no, not YouTube, Instagram, there's like all different kinds of memes, and they look so funny, and I want to know, you know, what they are. And so you know, when you have something that looks interesting, then you're going to want to investigate further and see what it's all about, because you want to be in the know, right? So that's definitely something that I do, is kind of try and understand like the new culture when it comes to like some of the more hip things, and investigate it so that way I can be a part of it too.
All right, that's nice. That's nice. This is actually what I do. Like you need a certain level of interest to enjoy learning in that language. And so for me, it was always music and songs and lyrics.
Absolutely.
You know, I used it as a tool to get better in English. Then I moved from music to books, like to get more input in that language. It's my experience, but I see now when I'm interviewing you, I see that even though you are good at in your mother tongue, of course, but in Spanish, learning the third and fourth language is like scary, right?
Yeah, very scary. Very, very scary. But another thing that helps me is, like I said, receiving feedback from people that speak that language with a high level of proficiency. Not just native speakers, but those that really have put in the work. And so one of the things that I do is, like on Facebook, for example, there's all kinds of groups, language learning groups, culture groups, and we do like a language exchange. It doesn't have to be long. I know that everybody has super busy lives, you know, and there's other things that we could be doing or should be doing, but so we could start with 30 minutes. So for 15 minutes, I'm going to speak my language, and I'm going to, you know, we're just going to have discourse and just converse, so that way you can hear me and you can feel comfortable with listening and speaking. And then the next 15 minutes, you're going to speak my target language, and you know, it's reciprocal. We give and we take, and we start to feel comfortable with one another, and then you branch out from there. And then you might feel comfortable with going to like a polyglot meetup or a meetup for, you know, your target language. So again, it all comes back to putting yourself in that uncomfortable space, so that way you can learn and grow from others that are willing to help you, you know, and you have something to give to someone and they have something to give to you, so why not take advantage of that?
Yeah, you already answered my question. Like, what would you recommend people who want to learn other languages? And you already put it in a nice way. But would you like to add something to that?
Again, I just say don't be afraid to make mistakes. We tend to limit ourselves when we are afraid to make mistakes, but the mistakes are beautiful because they help us to grow. So make mistakes and make them often, because when you do feel that discomfort, you're going to say, oh wow, I don't want to make that mistake again. I just encourage everyone to continue to seek the knowledge themselves, because again, we can have great teachers, we can get lucky and have great people around us that are willing to provide us the knowledge and the culture and all these other things, but it's our responsibility. When you have a goal, you must do the work behind it to actually meet that goal. And so using everything that's around you is going to be beneficial and serve you well in your language learning endeavor, so make sure that you're doing that.
All right, Courtney, thank you for having this interview with us. All right,
My pleasure.
and I will see you around.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.